everybody? It is so good to be here. Unbelievable. Well, we want to thank you so much for joining us on our Dedication Sunday. It is an unbelievable journey that the Lord has brought us on, and many of you here in this room are a big part of that. This morning we had an awesome privilege of dedicating this beautiful building back to God. In 1 Kings chapter 8, after Solomon, David's son, had built the temple, we had the story of how Solomon and the people of Israel were gathered in the court of the temple of Jerusalem. The temple they had been building for 7 years. It was now finished. The walls of stone were sheathed inside with cedar, wood, and lined with gold. The court with the brazen sea and the great brazen altar. And they had come to dedicate the temple, to set it apart, sacred to the Lord, to ask His blessing upon it, to all who turn toward the Lord and the temple for worship. And in a sense, that's something that we want to do here this morning. We want to give, this is God's building. God has done this. And we are so thankful. What an incredible, incredible gift that the Lord has given us here. The story really began probably about 7 or 8 years ago, as the city approached us as we started talking about their need to eventually widen Town Lake Parkway. And our building, as you know, many of you know who've been in that building, it's right on the road, and there was no place to go. And so we've been talking about that and saying, yes, we're definitely open to discussions about that. Just a quick, short story about how all this happened. Sam and I were talking. Sam mentioned, well, why don't you just ask them if they want to just buy the whole thing? And so I had an opportunity to talk to the mayor, and I said, we basically broached that subject, and he took it back, and lo and behold, they came back and said, we'd really like to do that because it made sense for them and everything with their plans. And because if they had taken those two buildings, it really wouldn't give us really a way to do what we wanted to do. But up to that point, we had no thought of that. We had no thought that that's what the Lord wanted to do. And God did that. God did that. And so after they bought the building from us, we were asking the Lord, what should we do? What should we do with the money that we've been paid for this building? Because, you know, the economy at that time, the banks were failing in Woodstock, the economy, everyone was pulling back. And we're like, maybe we should do that? We don't know. But the Lord gave us a passage in Isaiah 54, starting in verse 2, and we believe that this is what God did. God gave us this as something to hold on to. And it says this, it says, clear lots of ground for your tents. Make your tents large, spread out. Think big. Use plenty of rope. Drive the tent pegs deep. You're going to need lots of elbow room for your growing family. You're going to take over whole nations. You're going to wrestle abandoned cities. Don't be afraid. You're not going to be embarrassed. And that was something that we were concerned about. You know, I mean, if we do this, maybe we shouldn't do this. Maybe we should hold on to this money and not spend it. Because, you know, it would be embarrassing if we did this and nobody came. You know? But God told us, you will not be embarrassed. He said, don't hold back. You're not going to come up short. You'll forget all about the humiliations of your youth, and the indignities of being a widow will fade from your memory. For your Maker is your bridegroom. His name is God of the angel armies. Your Redeemer is the whole earth. Your Redeemer is the Holy of Israel, known as God of the whole earth. And then in verse 13, this is something else. And this is part of our vision, part of our goal is we want to know God. We want to grow in our relationship with Him. And listen to what verse 13 says. It says, all of your children will have God for their teacher. And we took that as a promise from the Lord. And so we set out to do this. And that's what the Lord has done. We made the decision to believe that if we put it all on the line, that God would bless our efforts. The fact that you are here this morning, as I said, shows that we were right to trust Him. Our name is Woodstock Community Church. We believe that it is God's desire that we be in community with each other. Because this is how we learn what we were placed on this planet for. There's a quote from a book called Jesus Christ for Today by Jürgen Moltmann. He said this, he says, "I believe that for us, men and women, truth is to be found in dialogue. It is only dialogue with one another that we can discover truth, because it is only in relationship to other people that we form our own identity. We always need the eyes of others if we are to understand ourselves and if we are to overcome our narcissism or our obsession with ourselves. When we encounter other people and hear them say, 'I see you and I know you,' we begin to see ourselves and understand ourselves. If it weren't for this experience of other people and their outside view of us, we should remain trapped in the prison of our own prejudgments, illusions, and about ourselves. And no one loses his or her authentic identity in dialogue with other people. But in dialogue with other people, everyone acquires a new profile." This is community. This is why we come here together, to learn from God, to see God in each of us as we come together and we interact with one another. And that's what we want this place to be. Before we began the process of building, the elders, we got together and we asked each other, what type of building did we believe God would want us to build? And we all came back saying the same thing. That the last thing that we wanted to do was spend a lot of money on a building that was only used for 1 or 2 hours a week. That was the last thing that we wanted to do. We wanted a place that we could come together, be in community together, to interact with one another. We wanted a place that would be more like a retreat than just a meeting place, but a place where you can come and hang out, a place that you can get to know each other better. Because as we get to know each other better, we learn more and more about each other. We learn more and more about how God is changing us and what He's doing in us. And so that's what we all said the same thing. And so that's what we set out to do as we started the process. And we believe that God has given us such a place. And I want to just take a few moments to recognize some people who've been instrumental in bringing this building of ours to fruition. And I really think we need to take a little bit of time to do that. And I'd like to start with Tony Isle. Tony has been a great friend to this congregation. And he's been a great asset with regard to counsel as we were looking at property, making the decision to do this. And I just really want to thank you for that. I don't think he's here today, but another good friend, Chuck Barnes, who was formerly the president of Security Bank in North Metro, had his counsel was invaluable. I especially want to thank Jerry Spangler and Tanel Spangler and Walsh, and you guys here have done an outstanding job. And more than that, through all of these people are mentioning, God brought these people together. And it was like as we interviewed, we talked to different people, we just knew this is who God wants us to use. And we got pushed back sometimes because we went a little ahead of the process, because we just knew that this is the person for the job. And so, Jerry, thank you so much for all of your work. He has designed a beautiful building for us. Let's get back. He listened to what our vision was, and he and Heather Hubble, who carried a lot of water on the project here, did an outstanding job. And more than just a business relationship, we've got a friendship. And that's incredible what God's done. It's awesome. And so I just really wanted to thank you. Mitch Paulk, I don't know if he's here today. Mitch Paulk is a civil engineer who's responsible for the beautiful site work that we have. And the green aspects of that site work, and being able to do some things here that really have never been done before. And so we're really excited about that. For Jeff Williams, JM Williams Contractors, we just really want to thank you. Jeff, and for your team, especially Bill Sanowski back there, who's our superintendent. That was another timing thing where we saw, God and Bill needed a job. Jeff gave him a job. He ended up here working for us, working on this building, and you have been absolutely incredible. And again, it's a deep. We've established a deep friendship, and it is awesome. And we really thank you. All the subs that were involved in the process, from the graders, the concrete workers, the steel erectors, the carpenters, electricians, HVAC, the painters. It's been an incredible process. I want to thank Randy Reynolds and Charles Friend of Automated Resources. Randy we have a building that is energy efficient. The air conditioners won't stay on forever. They'll turn off. And the lights, if we forget a light, it'll turn off all by itself. It's unbelievable. And we have Randy to thank for that. For Jason Jones and S&L Integrated System, and Josh's assistants here today for the incredible sound system, how they engineered the sound and lighting for the room has been incredible. And I want to thank Gregory and Jonathan Michael and Joe Page and Mike In Creations for all the good work. Daryl Jacobs and his team and all the people in the church who helped with the landscaping. It's been a group project, and we want to thank Daryl and his team. I want to thank Jack and Corey Locatelli too for all that they've done with installing all these doors and all the other things that they've done, and they've been here available to help in many ways. And so thank you, Jack. I want to thank Will Allen too, because he has been instrumental in investing the funds that we received from the sale of the property, and gave us extra mileage with regard to returns that we received. And Will, I just really want to thank you for all that you've done. And Lisa Pollock with Cherokee Bank and their assistants as well, we want to thank you. And lastly, we want to thank Sandy Quackenbush and Tom Kent and all the team that have helped them here to make this so clean and beautiful for today. So we really want to And last but not least, I want to thank the city of Woodstock. And we really do want to thank you guys for helping us, being a partner with us. You guys have been great. Mayor Diane Rikas and Jeff Bud with the council. You guys have been incredibly awesome to work with. And we just really appreciate you. And I want to invite you, Mayor, to come up if you would to say a few words.